Hello and welcome back to another video for Final Fantasy XIV with me, Meoni. This time we're looking at the latest news from the game and surrounding it, covering all different topics today. The first one then, the most important one, is the update of the game that happened on August 24th, i.e. today and last night. So essentially the game got updated. You might have noticed this little bit of a patch, and essentially what they've changed is quite a bit. Firstly, you've got some adjustments been made to PvP. Yes, I know, mid-season. It says the increased healing potency effect of the Scholar PvP action dissipation has been reduced from 50% to 25%. So that was the first change made. I'm not really sure why they're changing PvP actions halfway through a PvP season. That's something for you to guess and comment below, but I think that changes during a season kind of suck. It would be nice if you had those for the next season or made before the season started. I don't really understand the that kind of nerf midway through a season. It's going to annoy scholars probably everywhere. The following adjustments have been made to treasure coffers, which appear upon defeating False Idol in the tower at Paradigm's Breach. So this is the last boss. It says the number of 2B cards that appear have been reduced from 3 to 2, because there's always quite a lot of those. The Stuffed Android Unit's Furnish item is now a guaranteed drop. And all minions obtainable from all of the treasure coffers are now guaranteed to appear. That's a big one for me. I spent the last, I don't know, couple of weeks farming for that, for the 9S minion, which a lot of people agreed probably doesn't exist. It was that low. There was only 3.2% of people in the world that had the minion, according to the Final Fantasy XIV Collect website. So now at least everyone will have a chance of getting that, because it's guaranteed to drop. As well as the stubby minion, of course, from the same instance. All Orchestrion rolls obtainable from treasure coffers now are also a guaranteed drop as well from that dungeon as well. So if you want your music, you want your minion, you want your housing furnishing, I guess now's the time to do Tower at Paradigm's Breach, not 2 weeks ago when Meoni ground it into the ground. Also, the following issues have been addressed. There was an issue in Custom Matches of the Feast, wherein the spectators were able to initiate actions against participants. So obviously custom matches, not really a big deal, because it's not an actual match, but the fact that spectators could do something other than just watch is rather hilarious. I would love a future where we get the ability to throw tomatoes or rotten fruit at people that we don't like, and be an actual spectator in a big gladiatorial arena, but for now it seems we have to do custom matches, or did have to do custom matches, and we were able to actually do damage to people, but not some more by the looks of it. There was also an issue wherein under certain conditions, leaving the login queue to log in with another character would reset the hotbars of certain jobs for the character that logged in. That really is quite rough. I don't like that. A friendly reminder then to back up your UI settings and your character settings on the main menu of the game regularly. And if you have any problems, you can just re-download those settings. That's definitely something I would advise everybody do before any major patch comes out, and of course Endwalker itself. There was also finally an issue wherein the game server crashed under certain conditions. They're not going to tell you what caused it to crash, because obviously that's information they don't want to share, otherwise it might be replicatable elsewhere. Anyway, but there we go. So what do we think about this? Basically a nerf to the treasure coffers in Tower at Paradigm's Breach. Long overdue. I farmed for the minion. I wish I'd waited a bit, but at least if you're still needing that minion, you can go for it now. It's not a big deal. More access to those things. It should have been done a while ago. The change to dissipation in PvP for scholars, that's a tough one. That's a really tough one. You'll have to let me know what you think about that below. Right then, let's move on from that then. We have more news to go through. So our second topic today then is an update regarding the NA and EU data center congestion and the next steps. This is from Yoshi P, the producer and director of the game. He says, "Greetings Final Fantasy XIV players, this is your producer and director Naoki Yoshida. I'd like to say a huge thank you for the support from our players around the world, including those of you who recently started your adventures in 14. On the other hand, the number of simultaneous logins has continued to hit the upper limit, especially in the case of the North American and European data centers and worlds. And as such, I'd like to provide an update regarding the current situation and the need to designate certain worlds as congested." So firstly, it says increased logging caps for the EU data centers. During the patch 5.58 hotfix maintenance, scheduled for August 24th, so that's today, apparently, they're changing the operating system settings for the server configuration to the European data centers. The logging cap will be increased once we have confirmed stability post-maintenance. Furthermore, in late September, we are also planning to replace some of our equipment with high-performance machines to further increase the cap. We've observed considerable levels of congestion on the European data centers over the past few weeks, especially during weekends. I know, right? We had like 2,000 queue. Though login queues have been quite long, please rest assured that they are working properly. We apologize for the inconvenience, but we ask that you continue to wait for your turn to log in should you encounter a queue. Interesting. Next up, classifying all Ether data center worlds as congested. As of 5.58 hotfix maintenance, all worlds on the Ether data center have been classified as congested. Despite expanding the maximum capacity as much as possible and closely monitoring the situation, the number of logins for each world have consistently remained at full capacity, which led to us taking this course of action. This means players will be unable to create new characters on any world on the Ether data center until this classification is lifted. We sincerely apologize for the inconvenience this will cause for those of you who are looking forward to embarking on adventures with friends. And were the numbers of characters to increase any further, it could result in logging queues taking up to several hours, which is why we needed to take this approach. In the meantime, we kindly request that you consider creating a character on a world within the Primal or Crystal data centers, though we're aware that they're currently quite congested as well. Once again, we sincerely apologize for the inconveniences we'll cause our players on the North American data centers. I mean, what more can they really do? Other than get new server infrastructure, which I suppose is what they're working on. Speaking of which, addition of new worlds and other large-scale solutions for each data center. To address the congestion situation, our infrastructure and development teams are closely working to plan large-scale solutions such as expanding our data centers or adding new worlds. As previously mentioned, however, there is an ongoing global shortage and increased demand for semiconductors, and quite frankly, we're still struggling to source the required equipment. Additionally, the recent resurgence of COVID-19 cases in Japan has raised major concerns regarding our ability to travel overseas for the on-site implementations. These setbacks have made it difficult for us to cut down on the time required for implementation. Considering the current situation will likely require more time in implementing our large-scale solutions. The circumstances surrounding our infrastructure are far from ideal, but I promise that we will continue to persevere in implementing any solutions we can. Thank you for understanding and continued support, Yoshi P. End quote. So interesting, very interesting. So there's still a semiconductor shortage. I mean, you don't have to be, unless you've been hiding under the sea, you would have probably known that already by now as a consumer. But yeah, there is a huge problem for that. I mean, if you try to buy a graphics card, you'll know exactly what I mean. But basically, it's something they're working on. And it looks like EU is going to have a better time of this, but we had less people to begin with anyway. But we'll have to see what the cap feels like. In terms of new worlds and new servers, etc., that's a really cool shout, and I hope that they can get that working. Basically, it's a race against time, in my opinion. You need to get all of this stuff stable and ready for Endwalker, basically, before Endwalker launches. Now, Endwalker's in November. We're currently bridging towards the end of August. We're going into September soon. How is this going to happen so quickly? Well, they're going to have to, probably get someone else to go on site from one of those other countries rather than traveling over themselves. You know, maybe that's something they could do. Maybe ask for other... I don't know. There must be a way of getting semiconductors. There must be a way of getting this sorted, but I don't know. I don't know the solution, but Yoshi P and the team certainly are trying their best. That's all we can say. Moving on. And our final story of today is the new Lawson and Final Fantasy XIV crossover campaign starting on August 31st, so this Tuesday. This next Tuesday. This will actually have a new mount as a reward from this. It's similar to the previous Lawson's Chicken that they had for the Fat Black Chocobo, where essentially you buy certain amounts of stuff, this Moogle tea, for example, as they're showing here, and you collect stamps. 18 stamps will get you this mount, which is the King Porxie. As you can see, it's a Porxie mount with a crown on its head, a little pink crown, which is adorable. But as far as we know, this is going to be Japanese exclusive. As to the code itself, most likely a region-free code, if I recall. That's probably what they'll end up going for. There's still no confirmation on that, but expect to see these randomly on some people who managed to figure this out. But yes, I believe this is a Japanese exclusive campaign. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see if we get this in the West. I mean, we'll very likely. If they want to do another Twitch promotion, that's fine by me. Include more people, get us on there. That'd be awesome. I'd love to see. I thought it was very successful, personally. I thought it was very successful, and lots of people could get their mount by supporting people they enjoy watching. So maybe they'll do the same thing this time. Who knows? But yeah, that's pretty much it. There's also new like pop-up shops and stuff for some of the merch that you usually get on the website there. But yeah, the most important thing is this new campaign. It does mention that it will last for as long as there are actual codes. So it does seem to be like there's a limited amount of codes, but also you have that end date, which is where is it? September the 20th. So we've got from Tuesday, August 31st until September the 20th. So it's not a long period at all, but it probably is enough to get this mount. I'm curious to see if this is a region-free code or not. I'll let you know in the future if that turns out to be the case. Anyway, that was the news roundup for Final Fantasy XIV for August 24th. Let me know what you're excited for. Do you find the fact that they're adding changes to PvP season mid-season a little bit annoying? I find that quite unprofessional, personally. Do you like the idea of this mount? Do you think that they're doing enough for the server congestion issues? Let me know below. Let's have a conversation. Try to keep it civil, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.